And we're live. Hope everyone had a fantastic week and that you're enjoying the podcast thus far. Hey, do us a favor. If you're liking the content, we need some help. Tell your friends. You can tag on Instagram, hashtag the table podcast. You can also you can also if you want show. What if I never learned to say my R's? No disrespect to people who don't say the Oz. But if I never learned to say my Oz. No disrespect though. Like everybody's journey's different and maybe you're just not there yet. One day you will. Speech therapist. I don't know, but they're out there. Don't leave me hanging. Don't look away, guys. You should be in the studio. These guys look away like you're on your own on this one, bud.
That's so true.
But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, if you like the podcast, tell your friends, hashtag the table podcast. Also like, subscribe, repost. You can repost videos on YouTube, on our YouTube videos on Facebook and things like that. If you're looking for the table podcast on YouTube, search the table podcast.
Yep.
With Nick Hand, and it will pop up.
It'll be right there.
Yep. You can also tag me at Nick Hand on Instagram, and we'll repost your stuff just to kind of get traction. But please help us if you like the podcast. I hear people slide into my DMs and tell me that we're loving the podcast. If that's you, hey, would you help spread the word? Greatly, I would be greatly appreciated. Hope you had a great St. Patrick's Day. Did you guys have a great St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It's not my cup of tea. I don't know why.
Well, what did you guys do?
I slept.
Dude,
literally, I got home and then just knocked out all day.
I tell people that doing St. Patrick's Day is just doing too much day. You know what I mean? Like we're taking this too far. Most people don't. Do you guys know what St. Patrick's Day is about?
No.
Okay.
St. Patrick.
Who is St. Patrick?
He loves green, apparently.
Apparently, dude, and people with their outfits, dude. Extra is like, to say the least. Like, not just like when I was growing up in school, it was just like wear a little bit of green so you don't get pinched. But people are doing like full blown head to toe outfits, and it's getting out of hand. But this is the world we live in. These holidays, there's National Kiss a Ginger Day. Did you know that?
No.
And all the redheads,
really?
all the redheads know that. No, I'm
National
serious.
National
Kiss a Ginger Day.
Saturday, January 12th. National Kiss a Ginger Day.
I think that they deserve it though, because redheads get a lot of crap from people. We should start just a love fest. We should start a love fest for redheads, and maybe it'll be a nonprofit, 501c3. Maybe we will start it, and it'll be Love is Red. Is that a thing already?
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh my gosh.
Man, what would you do if your kid was born with red hair? Is this too far? Hey, if you're a redhead out there, dye it. Just dye it. Like, is this too far? No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna start a 501c3 for a redhead. I love all of you redheads out there, and just so much love to go around.
Do you think you'd go red?
Would I ever color my hair red? I've done my hair so many different colors. If you love redhead so much, then why don't you just go redhead, guy? I used to do like I always try to push the envelope too far. I like people that just try too hard. I've been that guy my entire life. I remember when I did, when like frosted tips were in. You don't know what I'm talking about? When frosted tips were in? Just like so frosted tips were in. Well, I remember I did like the opposite of frosted tips, where you do blonde, like your hair is brown, but you bleach it blonde, and then you frost the tips brown. That's how much I wanted to stand out.
That's St. Patrick's Day right there, okay?
that is
So if there's something that's St. Patrick's Day, that is St. Patrick's Day.
Dude, that is so
You
St.
bleach
Patrick's
it
Day.
and then read that the tip's brown?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude.
That's hardcore. That's very
Dedication.
Guy Fieri. What's his name? Guy Fieri?
Yeah.
Dude, he can cook great, though. But have you seen
does.
like his before and after? Bro, he's unrecognizable. If you're driving in your car, and I know you shouldn't use your phone, so maybe pull off the side of the road or something, but you should look up Guy Fieri, or however you say his last name.
Before,
You type in Guy. Okay, first of all, if you've never had a Guy's Burger, you're missing out. Have you had a Guy's Burger?
Yes, I have.
I'm talking
can
Guy
you pull
Fieri.
it up?
Yeah.
Guy Fieri. Guy Fieri.
Fieri. It's actually Fieri.
Hey, have you ever known people that like you just got to say their name like more complicated than it actually is? I remember when Stephen Furtick first came out, like everybody around me, they would call him Stephen Furtick because
Furtick.
Furtick, it just sounds, you know what I mean? He just like
That's like when people. I was at a taco truck the other night, and this lady's like, "I have she's totally normal. I have a burrito." Like not even kidding,
my
bro.
God.
Rolled it like
No.
really bad. I'm not even kidding.
can I
And you can tell it's just like you're trying so hard. Stop.
have a burrito, please? Hey, I do that sometimes.
It was
though.
more like that.
When I'm at a Mexican food restaurant, I kind of do that because I don't know if I should say chili relleno or chili relleno.
Relleno.
Know why?
Why? What?
You're ginger.
They see right through you.
No, I don't know. I think it's human nature.
Oh
I think people
gosh,
change
Guy
things.
Fieri. You ready for this?
Well, they can't if you're not, bro. I'm not even kidding though. You gotta Google it up.
Oh,
He looks like a
no.
different human being. It looks like something that an app made.
Oh no.
Like
He looks like every before picture ever.
But like he looks like on the before pictures. Go to be a before picture.
But
I'm
is it back? Okay, that one was backwards though, right?
So the go to his before picture.
Like this one
Yeah.
here.
So his before
Oh my
picture,
gosh.
dude,
Oh
looks like
no.
What does he look like? He looks like he runs like a piano bar, or like he for sure owns Doberman Pinschers, dude. When you look at him, like he for sure owns Doberman. You know, like the kind of guys that just you can tell you own certain types of dogs. He for sure
Wow.
owns like either full size poodles that are like full grown standard poodles that are shaved in weird ways. Like that's the kind of guy. Yeah.
Something.
Or Doberman Pinschers. I
Wait,
don't
is
know.
that him with the mullet up there too?
Which one?
Right there.
Guy Fieri,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Guy
Man.
Fieri.
Wow. That's
And if you
wild.
say his name, definitely say Fieri because it
Fieri.
sounds better than Fieri. I have my buddy, Lewis. I think his last name is Everick, but whenever he's in public, he says Everick. And when you look at how it's spelled, Lewis, I know you're probably listening. Your last name is Everick, bro, but you say it Everick. You know why? Because it sounds cooler. It does. And I think I'm gonna start doing that.
Hand.
My name is Nick Hond.
Yeah.
It sounds cooler than Hand. Like it's not as boring. But that's how we do. That's where we go. That's how we be. Today on the podcast, are you signaling me for something? Because I'm gonna miss whatever it is. He's signaling me with his phone, but I don't have my phone, so I can't be discreet.
This
so
is a live show.
what are you wanting to say to me? Is it inappropriate?
No. Our guys
Okay,
here.
our next podcast is here. Okay, so today on the podcast, my good friend, NFL vet, Robert Golden, played for Pittsburgh Steelers amongst other teams, still grinding, still building, still stacking those chips and making gains. You're going to hear an incredible conversation today. I think the beauty of this podcast, again, no matter what industry you come from, man, there is so much to learn from each other. It is a real conversation, hits close to home for many, and also kind of gives a perspective into a world that you may not be familiar with, the NFL, and some of the stories that go on in the midst of that. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Rob Golden.
First the barricade, now the table.
You doing a lot of interviews these days?
I have been, man.
What have you been doing interviews for?
Basically, dude, just
What were you on the other day when you were? It probably wasn't the other day. It was probably a couple months ago. But it was like at a game or something.
that was with the Pac-12 network.
What was that about?
So when I was off this past season, I picked up a couple of Pac-12 network shows where I do like the pregame show.
Okay.
And you pretty much just talk about the game that was coming up. So kind of like a sports analyst. And
Yeah.
did some of those, man, throughout the year, and then I did some stuff out at Super Bowl as well, just talking about football.
Would you do that? Would you go into like TV?
I definitely thought about it, but
You can move your thing.
okay, yep, I definitely thought about it, but I'm more of like wanted to do like player development type stuff. Like help rookie guys that's coming into the league, just learn how to be a professional.
A lot of guys go into TV, don't they?
Yeah, a lot of guys do.
Isn't that where the money's at?
It is,
That's
man,
what
but
I
it's such a competitive market, you know. They want all of the Randy Moss guys,
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
the Hall of Fame guys,
Yeah.
So, it's a hard, market to get into. So I'd rather like take my role and
Yeah.
do something that can help other guys and benefit them to teach them how to be professional athletes.
Yeah. As an NFL player, how do you know when it's time to start entertaining new things, different things? Is it always in the back of your mind?
Well, definitely for me, I say when I started playing after like my third year, I just decided to go back to school. It's like, I know one day this football is going to come to an end. So I just started going back to school. And
so you were doing that when you were playing?
When I was playing, yeah, and just started networking with people, man, and tried to just figure out, what was going to be my next step, what was going to be my next adventure. And, I just brainstormed some stuff, man, and started meeting new people. And
was that hard to do, going to school?
I mean, not really, because I did it in the off season. So, like during the season, I was just strictly football, and then come off season, I did a lot of classes online, and sometimes, that when I was in Arizona, it was easy for me to just drive back up to campus and get some things done. But I mean, football, it's such a short stint of your life. Yeah. A lot of players don't really realize that until it's over. You know what I mean? Like, even if you play 10 years in the National Football League, when you get out, you'll probably be about 30, 31 years old and still have your rest of your life to live.
How long do most guys play?
The average NFL career, man, is 2.5 years.
That's it?
It's 2.5 years, yeah.
Gosh. How long have you played?
This is my 7th year.
7 years.
7 years,
So you've outlasted 2.5 years?
2.5 years.
You know what's so crazy about it to me? I had a cousin who he did baseball, but he got picked up, and I mean, he like made it, and he got picked up by one of the teams or whatever. But even at that, then it eventually kind of just fell off from there. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I couldn't imagine the journey of like, man, your whole life,
right?
It's gonna be about this, and you're living for just the shot, right?
No
I mean, because
question.
there's so few people that actually get that opportunity.
No question.
And then when you get it, 2.5 years, and then what?
Exactly.
Are you even thinking in that realm when you're trying to make it into the NFL?
I mean, I wasn't really thinking about it, because it's always just been a dream of mine to accomplish that goal. And once I finally made it to the NFL, it was just like, man, I'm here. It was kind of like surreal. So I was just going about my day, man, still being the competitive guy that I am, and just trying to make every day count, man. And that's what it was about, for me. But as you mature and as you, continue to be around older vet guys and see how they're moving, about their lives and how they're carrying on and the things that they're doing, man, then you start to just realize, like, hey, I got to start thinking about, my second career option. And, once you start falling in love with something else and start losing your gig for, playing in the gridiron, man, then that's when, it's about that time to start making that transition to.
Do you feel like that's where you're at?
Not yet, I still have that fire burning in me to, go out there and ball, but I'm definitely at a more mature level now, being that I have a wife and my boy, I'd rather be around them more than being away from them, traveling on the road and everything. But I still have that fire to play, man. I still feel good. I still feel like I can go out there and do it. So when I stop feeling good, man, when I stop feeling the fire, man, then that's when I say I start making that transition.
Is there like a strong divide or a difference between, the guys that just come in, they don't have families and things like that, and you got, the OGs. Are you an OG now? I mean,
I'm definitely man. It's funny. It's funny, man, because when I was with Kansas City this past offseason, I was one of the oldest guys on the team. Yeah.
That felt weird?
Yeah, it felt super weird. Like, Cass was coming up to me like, what should I do, man, to recover my body? I'm like, man, I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. So it was cool, though, man, just, because I know that I used to be that guy, I used to wonder what, guys was doing to take care of their bodies, or what was it like, to have a family and things like that. But, I can definitely say, man, it helps you mature and it helps you grow up, once you coming into that level and seeing other guys, and how they move about with their families and everything like that. It kind of makes you want that in life as well.
You didn't end up playing the full season with Kansas City, though, right?
I did not.
And that was you, right?
That was me, man. That was me.
Have you talked about that publicly? Like, I mean,
I have not. The
thing about Rob Goldman is you talking code all the time. I follow you on social media. Anybody who follows you on social media, you'll just drop an emoji and just leave it at that.
No question, man.
So what was the deal? Or you don't want to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm definitely down to talk about it. It was a change that I was going through in my life. I was with the Steelers. I was with, unlike a lot of other NFL players, a lot of guys bounce around throughout the NFL and
different teams and stuff.
No question. And I was just on one team for, my whole career. And then, I go into free agency, man, and it's other teams that want me, and Pittsburgh Steelers wanted me back to be on their team again. They wanted me to take a pay cut, and I was like, well, let me see what's going to happen, somewhere else. And, it was funny because that was like a Friday, and Sunday came around, and Kansas City reached out to me and was like, hey, man, we want to bring you in, this, that, and the third. So I fly out there on a Monday. I meet with the general manager and everything like that. And I get there and they like, man, we want you to compete for the starting spot. We released one of our other safeties, man. We feel like this position is open for you. And I mean, like, the dude just really like bashed, all the other safeties that was on the team and
trying to make it sound good, right?
Yeah,
like
made it sound good, So I was like, okay, man, I'm gonna do this. So I kind of reached back out to Pittsburgh and was like, man, thanks for the opportunity to bring me back, but I think I'm gonna move forward, and go to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And I get there, man, and I was nowhere to be found on the depth chart. Wow. So it was like I wasn't even practicing, dude.
Really?
Like I've been the guy, that's always been like at least the starter or the backup guy, and to get somewhere and like not even be able to compete, it bothered me a lot. I mean, we'll have like 2.5, 3 hour practices. And, after we finish warming up, I'll just be standing on the sideline. Yeah. And not only that, I was new to the city. And usually, when you come to, a new team or whatever, they kind of like put you up in a hotel and everything like that. And, mind you, I had a home out in Pittsburgh. Right. So I kind of went through that whole transition of putting a lot of my things in storage and moving it to Kansas City, getting ready to get a place out there.
So you actually did the move.
I did. And, just when things wasn't going right, they wasn't even letting me compete. And I was actually out there, just like paying for my own hotel and doing all of these things that an organization are usually a do for you. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of made me feel unwanted, and I don't know if you ever been in a position where you just felt unwanted or unappreciated, man. It's such a mind-boggling thing, especially, with me being, a family man, and my wife was away from me. I was away from my boy. Yeah. I wasn't given the opportunity to compete. And, I just felt, really disrespected out there. Mm-hmm. And, man, God then blessed me, man, to play this game and, blessed me financially, to the point to where, I've been good, without ball, and I was able to make a decision that I felt that was best for me and my family, man, because I was going through a struggle so bad that I was kind of like taking it out on my wife,
and that's probably because just the feelings and the emotions of not knowing how to navigate.
No question.
Just what you used to be just the feeling of feeling unappreciated.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
Like the what is it they say that the risk has to be worth the reward.
No question.
You get out there and you're like, man, this isn't. I have to be away from my family. Right. This isn't what I wanted.
Right. And I've actually met with the general manager a few times and met with the coaches, and they all had nothing but high things to say about me, man. Yeah. They appreciated the man that I was. And it's funny, man, because, after I asked for my release, it was just like, man, we sorry how things worked out here. They was like, when we went into the draft, we was happy with signing you, but came fourth round, we took best available, which was a safety. And they was like, things just kind of changed for you within this organization. And I was like, totally understand, but, they kind of knew that when the draft happened. So I wish they would have let me know, a while back, and then, once I asked for my release, man, they offered me a job. They like, hey, man, once you're done playing with your career in about 3 or 4 years, it's like, we got a job for you, whether it's coaching, whether it's doing scouting or whatever it may have you. They was like, make sure you double back with us. And I was like, okay, cool, man. Sounds good. So I get on a flight that next morning. I land in Arizona to my family at 7 a.m. Yeah. 7:31 a.m. the 49ers reach out to me like, we want to sign you. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I'm finna be back closer to home, where my hometown is, finna be closer to family. And so later on that day, I supposed to flew out to Houston because the 49ers was doing a joint practice with the Houston Texans. So I supposed to flew out later on that day. Mind you, I just landed back in Arizona at 7 a.m. And my agent reached out to me like, hey, man, Kansas City hasn't released you. And I'm like, what do you mean? I just talked to them yesterday.
Wow.
They said that, everything was good. They had nothing but great things to say about me. And he was just like, man, they haven't released you. I'm like, well, what are they saying? He was like, they're not getting back to me. So
Wow. And if they don't release you, you can't
I can't
move
go
forward.
anywhere else. Yeah. So Kansas City ended up, not releasing me until like the next week. And I actually missed out on a couple of teams, man.
Are you serious?
Throughout that week period, man, 49ers, Arizona Cardinals, and it was another team, man, that had reached out that wanted to sign me, dude. But
What does that feel like? I mean, being in the middle of that.
man, it was crazy because it was like when we left on good terms, well, first of all, when I signed there in free agency, man, I was kind of like sold a dream. And then when I'm leaving there, it was kind of like they sold me another dream.
Right.
And, nothing was just going through. But I say it's crazy, man, because God works in mysterious ways. I was actually battling, 2 growing injuries. I tweaked my right side of my groin. And I was just battling through it, still going through warm-ups, still trying to, fight through everything. And I ended up tweaking my left groin. So I had 2 bad groins. But when the 49ers, gave me the call, I was like, okay, this is new life. Let's suck it up. Let's keep going. And my body wasn't right, man. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready physically. I wasn't ready emotionally. And God knew that, I believe. And he kind of gave me some time that I needed, to spend time with my family and appreciate my wife more, appreciate my son, man, and just appreciate everything that he's done for me, I kind of, you kind of get wrapped up in like, man, I want another opportunity. I want to play. But at the same time, man, that mentally and physically you're not ready to get back out there. So I kind of just went through a point where I was just like, okay, let me get my mental right. Let me get my body back healthy. Let me get back feeling 100% so that I can go out there and do the game that I love. When you playing football, man, one thing about ball is when your body feels good, you love the game. But when your body feels terrible, you hate the game. So just going through that whole process of not being able to compete and going through that whole, debacle that I went through in Kansas City on top of having injuries, it kind of just make me stop, loving the game like how I used to. And that's when I started feeling like the transition. But then I just realized, man, that, hey, it could have been just, the situation that I was placed in, or it could have been, how God just wanted me to take some time off to let my body heal and appreciate my family more, So whatever it was, I know that God worked it out for the good, and I'm in a better place now. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great.
How are you navigating that, though, in the journey? Because our brains are like hardwired to try to figure things out.
It was tough.
You're like stuck in the middle. Like
no
you
question.
can't.
No question. Especially, it was crazy, man, because when I finally got released, I actually flew out to Jacksonville.
First of all, were you not mad?
I was.
I'd be like so.
I was going, man. It was crazy, but I was definitely mad. But at the same time, I was like, my body isn't ready. My groins were jacked up.
Okay, but how are you dealing with that then? Because it's almost like you got to be furious.
Exactly.
Dude, like you're doing me dirty.
No
but
question.
At the same time, if they weren't doing you dirty, you'd probably have other challenges.
No question. But at the same time, like I say, I wanted to get back out there, but I knew I wasn't ready. And my body wasn't ready, so I wasn't going to go out there and enjoy doing what I was doing. Like I talk to my wife all the time. It was like, if my body wasn't hurting, I won't be so mad at these guys. But it's like my body is hurt. They're not giving me a chance to compete. And then when they do put me in to compete, it's like I've been standing on the sideline for like 2 hours and my body is cold again.
Yeah, you're not warmed up.
Now my groins are achy when they do put me in. So it was just like, it was so frustrating to even just like stick into that. And knowing that I have my family back home away from me, I didn't want to move them out there and get a place, especially with the situation that was how I was going. I was like, if I get a place right now, where, they don't keep me, because they wasn't even giving me a chance to compete. Yeah. So I'm like, if they don't keep me, then I then moved out here. I then moved my family all the way out here and then got a place. Now I'm going to be stuck in a lease, that, and the third. Versus, any other organization, when they really like you and they, care about you, from my understanding, you know, they take care of your expenses.
Well, you came
and
from a
everything
really
like
good
that.
organization
No
with Pittsburgh,
question,
right? I mean,
no
aren't they
question.
kind of known for that family type?
Definitely. You know, and I got that environment from the Chiefs. You know, things didn't work out with me in Kansas City, but the organization over there is such first
Really?
class. Like Andy Reid and all the guys over
Yeah.
there, the training staff. They all were first class people, man. I really enjoyed, you know, being around them, you know, personally, but just the football side of me, man, with the competitive nature that I've come from, it's just like, man, if I'm not given a chance to compete or even, you know, given the ability to go out there and show what I can do, you know, it was very frustrating. And not only that, man, it was crazy because we were game planning. Kansas City game plans during training camp, which is the first thing, you know, the first time I've ever seen that happen. But we were game planning against Pittsburgh Steelers because it was one of their first games. And, you know, I done been over there, man. So I'm like, okay, I know what's going on there.
Can you talk? Can you tell?
You know, I could have, but the crazy thing about it, they wasn't even asking me for like any information.
And you ain't no snitch.
Right. And the crazy thing is, man, when it was time for them to like start game planning against the Steelers, they wanted me to like
They wanted to talk
go
to you?
away.
Oh, they really?
Yeah, they pushed
Why?
me away, dude. I have no idea, man.
Maybe they
So
didn't want the drama of it, or
that, or maybe they just knew I wasn't going to be there, or you know, and they
like
didn't
they
want me to
already knew.
give, you know, information away. So, you know, it was a whole weird situation.
is there like an unspoken code between NFL players? Like when you get traded teams, are you not supposed to do that?
Most players do it
They
because
do.
you know, like teams, when you on a team, man, it's like it's a family. You build
Yeah.
relationships with your brothers, and you get used to, you know, doing things a certain way, you know. So when things shift, you know, it's kind of like, dang, I gotta, you know, learn new teammates. I gotta learn a whole new playbook. I gotta learn how, you know, everyone operates. So it's like you go to a new team and it's like, man, why did they mess up my tradition, what I usually do? Why they mess up my agenda? So it's like, when I play those guys, I want to give it to them. You know, I want to make sure we beat them. So it's like most guys, when they go to another team, they usually, you know, tell the secrets or whatever it is. Sometimes you would come from a team, you know, like the Steelers, where everything was good and you leave on good terms. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to say anything. We're going to figure this thing out with this new team and go out there and see if we can get it done. But man, it was a weird situation, dude.
Is there not like loyalty to your, like, I mean, when you're an outsider that you're a fan of the NFL, you have your team.
Right.
But when you're a player, you can't really do that, right?
I mean,
Like, do you have a favorite football team?
I grew up with a favorite football team, but
Which is
once
who?
the 49ers.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the San Francisco 49ers, I grew up with that team, but it really, your favorite team really becomes the team that's taking care of you, man.
Yeah.
That's paying you, you know, that's helping you provide for your family, and you know, that's giving you a platform, you know, in a lot of the world. So it really becomes like, you know, the Steelers really became my favorite team. You know, once I signed with them, man, it was black and gold forever. You know, my family became Steeler fans, and I think this past year was the first year that my family didn't root for the Steelers. You know, so
It's hard.
it's
huh?
hard,
Probably,
dude. It's hard, dude. But throughout the year, man, I was pulling for them. I was hoping that, you know, they could have went off to the playoffs and made a run. But, you know, those still some of my boys over there, man. We still keep in contact to this day. I actually talked to Antonio Brown yesterday, man. And, you know, he's over in Oakland now.
I know. What
so
about that?
I know, right? It was funny because he was actually out here in Fresno yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Derek and everything.
Yeah.
He reached out to me yesterday.
That's
like,
awesome.
I'm in your hometown.
Yeah.
Man. So, I mean, it's funny, man. You build relationships with guys that come from all over the world, man. And, you know, they really become your brothers. That's really like your family, especially when you're there from 6 a.m. in the morning to like 6 p.m. at night. You know, that becomes your family, you know. And being in Pittsburgh and from California, you know, like their families become my families and my wife family.
Yeah.
So it really becomes like our own little community of family oriented lifestyle. So some relationships that are built out there and built inside locker rooms, man, those they'll last a lifetime.
Pittsburgh's already changed so much, even though since you were there.
No question.
Would you go back?
I don't even want to say. I thought about it, you know. I thought about it a couple of times, you know, and if the opportunity was to present itself to me, I can't even tell you what I'll do right now, man.
The tough part is, I mean, you're with an organization for so long.
Right.
Is there any expected, like, I guess, let me think how to put it. Like, if you're with a team so long and then you get asked to go to another team, but you've become like one of the patriarchs of the team that you're currently playing for, is that I would assume it's probably not looked down upon by other players, right? They get that's your job.
Well, it's business, dude.
So, I mean, as a player, it's
Right.
about how much money, because you're trying to stack your chips for the rest of your life. You got to make it last,
No
right?
no question. But also, man, you got to understand that it's a business. I mean, these guys, they're trying. It's a draft every year. I mean, every year it's new players coming out, trying to get drafted, trying to make the team. So they feel that if a player is coming out of college and he's on the same level as you, or even can do similar things that you can do, they rather pay the younger player than pay the older player, who has the higher salary. I mean, it's business, man. It's a salary cap. Most teams get about $180 million to diversify between 53 active roster people. So it's like, when you got a quarterback that's making $20 million, and then you got a safety like Troy Polamalu who's making $20 million, and you got a couple of other guys that's making $20 million. Now you got about $80 million to diversify between 40 other players. So it's a business, and it's something that just that's not understood. But
internally, though, other players are cool with it, right? Like,
definitely.
How do you deal with the stuff from the outside, though? Because fans, on the other hand,
right,
aren't as cool with it.
Question,
right? Trader.
No question, exactly. And it's crazy. I was talking to one of my guys the other day. It's like social media has given fans like the ability to just like disrespect people without getting punched or something like that, man. It's crazy. I mean, I get so many mentions and people in my comments like, "Oh, you suck, this and that it is," and I be like, "Oh, dude, it's hard to block it out, but." It's like you can't even feed it to the negative energy, man, because it's going to continue to escalate.
It's like I talk to other people that have, significant influencer platforms, and one of the guys I was talking to, he's like, a lot of people out there, they don't realize that a lot of guys do see it. I mean, you see the hate that is being thrown towards you, and yet you can't.
No question.
You can't engage. How do you deal with that psychologically? Like, I mean, it's got to bother you.
I mean,
because you can't explain yourself.
Right. And it's like, for me, I try to like block out the noise, So sometimes when I have a bad game or something like that, I'll just completely shut social media down.
Just won't even look.
Yeah, I completely shut social media down, or I'll just I'll read some stuff and it's like, dude, I want to say something to this guy, but I'm like, I'm not even going to entertain it, and I just have to woosah or something like that, man. But I mean, it does, bother players. Players can say that it doesn't, but that's the nature of the ball that we live in, man. It's like we got to perform in front of a lot of people. We're pretty much entertainers, man, and we got to entertain these people, and we got to understand the platform that we're on, and understand that those jocks probably want to be where we are, and we just got to continue to just do what we do and try to block out the noise as much as possible.
You ever engaged with somebody, a hater?
I have not, man. I have not. Not that I can remember.
Everybody has a different approach to that, though, right? Like, some guys do, some guys don't.
Right. I can't remember if I've ever, written somebody back on Twitter or anything like that, but most of the time I just block them. I probably got about 1,000 people blocked on my Instagram and my Twitter. Literally probably 1,000
Literally block
people.
out the noise.
Yeah. So whenever somebody just, writes something bad about me or say anything like that, I just block them. Yeah, exactly.
Bye.
Right.
That's funny, though. Like, how... Because I think about just the pressure, and to go back to what we were talking about just a second ago, of just being in between. People have this the pressure of not knowing what's coming next.
Right.
People that even have goals and dreams of one day I want to be, and then you're frustrated because you're putting in the work, but it's like, I'm working so hard, and it seems like nothing is opening up.
Right.
And then you have this internal war. For you, how are you dealing with that internal war?
I tell you what, man, I'm still dealing with it now.
Yeah.
I'm still dealing with it now, man. Only thing that I can do is just put my faith in God, man. And that's what I've been doing. That's what me and my wife been praying. Just like, man, continue to trust God, you know what I'm saying? Because it's at this point in my life, it's like I don't know if I'm going to get another opportunity to play. But what I do know is I can control what I can control, and that's continue to work out and prepare myself for an opportunity. And I was reading this book. I forget what it was, but it was a quote in there that says, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared.
Wow.
So I just said, man, you know what? I'm going to continue to train like I've been training. I'm going to get in the best shape of my life. And if an opportunity presents itself, it does. And if it don't, it doesn't. But, man, it's one thing that I do, man. I got to continue to tell myself to, trust God, trust God, trust God, trust God.
Yeah.
And this is I tell you what, man, this is like every other day that I have this war with inside my head. Like, man, am I going to get another opportunity?
Right.
All these guys are getting opportunities. And here I am, 7-year vet, been a team captain for 4 years. I got a resume that speaks volume, and I'm not getting a phone call right now, So it's been tough, man. And to sit back and watch, football all last year, man, it was tough for me. But one thing that I kept doing, man, is like in my times of struggle, when I get depressed or when I start thinking about, the future too much, I just start, reminding myself that I got to stay in the right now, continue to trust God and just know that he has a plan for me that's bigger and better than my whole understanding. Yeah. And that's what I tell myself, man, every other day. I mean, it's literally like probably on Friday, I had to, have that same conversation with myself again, because it's like, man, I'm training so hard. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life. And it's
from
just
hot
like,
yoga, isn't it? I did hot yoga with you one time, and you were killing it.
Yeah, a little bit of that and some other stuff, man. So it's just like I'm just waiting on the opportunity, brother. But
how do you train? Is that okay? Because it sounds like what we're talking about is it's a mind game.
No question.
Keeping your head straight.
No question.
And that's
man.
like, I mean, for people, man, that really. Everybody deals with it in their own way.
No doubt.
But you're stuck.
No doubt.
But you're stuck between your ears.
No doubt.
Where you're stuck.
Exactly, man. And when you think about it, it's like I've been on this schedule my whole life, from school to going off to college and playing ball and having to be at meetings at a certain time and having practice at a certain time, then go to the NFL and at 6 a.m. in the morning, I'm heading to the facility. I'm working out. I'm in meetings. I'm in practice. And it's like you have this full agenda your whole life of things that you have to do at certain times to having so much free time. And that's been the whole thing about me. It's like, man, what do I do with all of this free time? And when you get stuck in the free time, man, that's when I start dwelling on a lot of things that aren't going my way. And like I say, man, I constantly have to remind myself that God has a plan for me. God has a plan for me. And it was even one time, man, where I was just like so frustrated. Like I came back here to Fresno and wanted to spend time with my family, man. But you don't really realize how much people have, their own lives going on. So I come back home thinking that it's going to be cool. I'm going to go home, sit around with my mom, with my brothers and everything. And they're like, all right, man, I'm off to work. And mom's like, she got to do what she has to do. And I'm like, hey, man, I don't know what to do, So, I mean, it's been a mental war that I've been battling with, brother. But like I say, man, God's been good, man. In my low moments, he reminds me, that he has a purpose for me, and just like it's crazy because I was in Arizona. I moved to Arizona because of the training facilities out there. Yeah. And the training facility that I've been training at, a lot of the trainers kind of ventured off and started their own facilities, in different states and everything like that. So the training that I've been getting wasn't the same, like I used to be. So one moment I'm laying in bed and I'm trying to figure out where I was going to go train, to continue to do this. I said I'm gonna give it to this off season to figure out if I'm going to continue to ball or not. So I said I'm going to find somewhere to go train, man, and put my all into it. And if an opportunity presents itself, we're going to be ready. Yeah. And while I'm on there, I'm searching up all these places in Vegas, Dallas, Florida, and everywhere, just looking them up and like, okay, I think I'm going to go to Vegas and train out there, and I get on Facebook. I mean, it's like 1 a.m, and this one guy that I always wanted to train with. When I first came out of college, I was supposed to train with him, but he ended up moving his whole gym to Hawaii.
Wow.
So he was going it for the whole time, man. And then I get on Facebook and I see him take a picture with Larry Fitzgerald, and he's like, "I'm back in Arizona.
Really?
Come in and come see the gym." You know, I see that on there, so I message him at like 1 a.m, like, "Chad, you back in Arizona, man? I've been looking for somewhere to go train, dude.
Yeah.
If you here, man, I'm gonna link up with you." And he wrote me back that same night, man. And he was like, "Man, come in, dude. Let's get to work." So I've been training with him, man. And it was just like, that was just kind of like a vision that, you know, God is starting to line things up for me. And not only that, I actually switched agents, and my agent is now based out of Arizona. And he's able to give me real-time updates, you know. And then the trainer comes there, and now I'm training. I'm in the best shape of my life. And you know, I don't know what God has planned for me, or even if I'm going to still ball. But one thing that I do know is that he's working it out for my good, regardless of what it is. You know, just my training and everything that I've been doing as of recent, you know, it's kind of been giving me a peace of mind, you know, to know that I'm moving in the right direction, or, you know, working out. It's kind of been my therapy, I can say. And it's kind of been giving me, you know, a clear conscience and everything, to just know that everything's going to be all right, regardless of what happened, man. So I've been resting assured in that, man, and just been thankful for how God has been moving.
When you're in the gym, are you like locked in? Like, is like, if you're training and don't really know what you're just training for, you're training for a maybe.
No doubt.
I would imagine it's a little bit harder to be motivated. I mean, I would imagine than knowing, okay, season's coming.
Right.
Or is it not? Is it?
I mean, it was, you know, while I was during the season last year, you know, I flew out like I said, I flew out to Jacksonville, I flew out to Philly, worked out for those teams, but nothing had went through for me. So it was kind of hard to continue to like train and like wait for that opportunity. So it was like I wasn't really motivated, you know what I mean? But then going into the offseason, I'm like, okay, it's a new year. You know, teams are still been showing interest, you know, throughout the whole season, though, man. A lot of teams was really interested in me, but it was a year of, you know, great health for safety. So when you're a free agent like me, you know, and you're on the streets, you pretty much just got to wait for somebody to get hurt, you know, and if somebody get hurt, then you get your number called. And
because they're not looking, right?
Exactly,
they're not looking for
exactly, unless somebody is really playing horribly or somebody gets hurt. And, you know, it was a time where, you know, none of the safeties were getting hurt, man. And then, you know, so nobody really, you know, reached out to me. But every time, you know, our agents made phone calls to teams and everything, it was like, Robert Golden, he's a great player. Tell him don't give up. Keep working, keep working. And, you know, my agent's been on him. He's been calling them, and they steady saying that, you know, he has life in his league. You know, he still has treads on his tire, is what they'll say, you know, and it was like, tell him keep going.
It's probably encouraging, right?
Yeah,
to hear that
it's
kind of
been
stuff. Because I would
encouraging.
imagine you'd second guess.
No doubt.
You just second guess yourself
No
being
doubt.
that you're...
And even still, I even still like, you know, second guessed it, because it's like, okay, all these teams have nothing but good things to say about me, but why I'm not, you know, getting in a locker, you know? But then
if you mean what you're saying,
exactly.
Can we sign some
But then
contracts?
I'll go work out, man, and I'll be like, dang, my groin's still not right. So it was kind of just like
maybe there's something at play that's bigger than this.
Yeah, because it was just like, man, my body wasn't right, you know, my groins were tweaked and it was bad, you know. So every time I get out there on the field and like try to burst or give it my all, it was like, you're not ready yet.
Do you feel like you're better now, though? Are your groins all healed and all that?
Better, I'm 1,000% better, man. I'm in the best shape of my life, dude. Like I didn't lost like 10 pounds of fat. I'm like,
you just feel good.
I'm 3% body
Put
fat
me in,
right
coach.
now, man. I'm just like, I'm ready for whatever, man. So
I don't even know what that feels like. 3% body fat.
Right?
Gosh, that's
I'm
incredible.
just like, man, I'm ready, man. But like I say, God has a plan for me, dude. And
you talk about the God thing a lot. You talk about trusting God.
No doubt.
Trust God, trust God, trust God. What does that practically look like for you? How are you trusting God? Is it a mind thing? Is it a... action thing? What is it?
It's definitely both, I'll say. I'm trusting God that, if he has another opportunity for me, I'm going to continue to train and be ready. It's just like, it's my faith, it's believing in the unseen, and right now I don't know if I'm going to get another opportunity, but I believe I am, I'm showing that I believe I'm going to get another opportunity by continuing to train, continuing to be ready, continuing to prepare myself for that opportunity. And, at the same time, it's just, staying motivated, staying, within my word and, just, listening to people that can, really pour life into me and giving me, some good guidance to believe that, hey, if an opportunity comes, you'll be ready, man. You just keep training. And that's one thing that my trainer's been able to do, is just continue to keep me motivated. And, I just continue to stay on my word, man, and continue to just have my moments with God, and I just know that I'm on the right track, man. Regardless of what happened, I know that I'm right where he wants me at, and I'm proud of that.
When you're discouraged, when you're going through a hard time, are you the type of person that picks up the phone and talks to somebody, or you kind of isolate?
I mean, it depends, brother. Like when I lost my dad 2 years ago. It'll be 3 years this year, and like during those times, I kind of was just like, I didn't really want to talk to anybody because, especially family, I didn't want to remind them of his absence, So it was a lot that I just kept built up inside of me, bro. And I pretty much just shut down and stayed to myself and, did the things, that I normally do, just go about my day. And, at nighttime, man, sometimes I cried myself to sleep. And it's been times, man, where I just like screamed at God, just roared, man. And, that kind of helped me, man. It was like, God, I'm here. Like, show your face to me, give me something. And I mean, it's just like, bro, whenever like strong, like struggles come upon my life, or whenever I starts to get like really discouraged, man, it's hard to explain how I just like call upon God, but man, I really just call upon him. I pray, dude.
You yell if you have to, whatever you gotta do.
I just pray, bro, and I just know it reminds me that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Like, it reminds me that he's there with me. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's unexplainable when you have a personal relationship with God, and it's just like he speaks to me, bro, and it's like, man, I find comfort. And when I get to that point where, I'm starting to get too discouraged, then I'm like, okay, I need to get on my knees and really, have a conversation with God, man. I need to bring myself back. And I done been there plenty of times, man. And every time I do it, he shows up. And it was funny because earlier this morning I spoke at a church. And
you preached at a church.
I preached at a church. I did, man. And my sermon, I kind of talked about Paul and Silas, man, and how they kind of went through the struggle. And even though they had got, was in prison and thrown in prison and got whipped and everything, man, during that time, man, they was still singing hymns to God and praying and worshiping. And, it says suddenly, God showed up, man. And that, I feel like that's the same with me, man. Whenever I'm going through something, man, I just start worshiping, man. I start praying. I start speaking to God, man. And he starts speaking back to me, and he suddenly shows up, man, every time. Every time.
It's funny because there's a lot of people when they go through hard times like that, you'll see people, they go through hell.
Right. Right.
And then you'll see people, because they go through hell, sometimes run away from God.
No doubt.
Because if God was real, he should have.
Right.
And then you see the difference in people who, in the middle of their hell, run to God.
Right.
And how they're able to push through.
No question.
Push through that pain. I mean, that's pretty much your story. Even
No
with
doubt.
your dad. That
No
if you're
doubt.
going through hell, don't run from God.
Exactly.
Take your anger and your rage.
Right.
Even if you got to shout at him,
No doubt.
he's God. He can handle it,
doubt.
right?
No doubt. And that was one thing I said, man. It was, I said, don't seek comfort. I said, seeking comfort is finding any excuse to keep you comfortable in your struggle. So I said, don't seek comfort, seek God.
Wow.
And that's just kind of where I've been at in my life. Yeah, man. And
we so seek comfort, though.
no
right?
doubt, man. I mean, a lot of people turn to drugs. A lot of people turn to alcohol.
Medicate.
A lot of people do a lot of things, man, to kind of blame their situations on other people or whatever. But man, like I say, man, when I was preparing that message for that church this morning, God was speaking to me, man. So he just kind of like spoke to me. I jotted things down, man, and just re-delivered the message, man. I was able to bless some people, dude. So, I was just thankful for that.
Well, you can talk about it because you've lived it.
No
I mean,
question.
You think about your dad's situation. That was unexpected, right?
Definitely unexpected.
What was the story?
I mean, dude, so it was crazy, man. 2016 was a crazy year because 2016, I had just finished a great season. I signed a new 3-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I ended up buying my mom and dad a brand new home. And
Was that always something you wanted to do?
something that I definitely wanted to do. Yeah, so I bought them a new home in February. In March, I signed my new deal. July, I got married. July 2nd, I got married, dude. And that next weekend, which was like July 10th, I believe it was, we did our baby reveal party because my wife was pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
And so we went to my home in Arizona and did our baby reveal party. July 15th, my dad passes away, takes a nap. I mean, he just barbecued for my baby reveal party and my housewarming. So great health. I mean, never been in the hospital, dude. Never been sick. Always been there. Always been active. He worked
No way to
every
see
day.
that coming.
Yeah, he works every single day. So he goes. I mean, we do the baby reveal party. He barbecues and we have a great time. That was July 10th. That next Friday, I was training because the next weekend after that, I reported for training camp. So I'm training on a Friday. I get back to my phone, man. I have like 10 missed calls from all my family members. I'm like, what's going on? So I see I got a lot of missed calls from my wife. So I called my wife back first, like, yo, what's going on? She like, call your mom. And I'm like, oh, dang, what did happen? So, I call my mom, she's not answering, and then my auntie calls me back, and she's like, your dad gone. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean my dad's gone? Like, so it was crazy, man. And so I ended up, that was a Friday. I get off the field on Friday afternoon, and I get ready to hop on a plane, man. I try to get on a plane to come straight back here to Fresno. I was in Arizona at the time, and my wife booked our flights, as soon as she found out, she booked our flights. And then we get to the airport, bro, and they don't let us on a plane. Wow. And it's the last flight out. They oversold the plane, so we can't get on. So that whole Friday night, bro, I'm stuck at the airport, just like didn't know where to go, didn't know the direction to go. I just moved into this house. I just moved to Arizona that year, and yeah, bro, it was crazy.
That was your first year in Arizona?
That was my first year. I bought my parents' home in Fresno in February, and then I bought my home in Arizona in like March or April or something like that after I signed my new deal with the Steelers, man. And I mean, life was it was so good, dude. Yeah. And then, boom, my dad passed, and my dad, he was the rock for our family, man. I mean, he took care of us, since birth. I mean, my mom, she didn't work. He was the provider. I mean, he's been the rock for our family, my whole life, dude. And for him to just go like that, man, it questioned a lot of things. It was like, I questioned a lot of things, bro. I questioned faith. I questioned, where was heaven at? I'm like, it was so tough for me, dude, because I lost him, and then we had to hurry up and do the funeral. I felt like I had to rush to do the funeral.
You couldn't process through it.
And then, the following week I was in training camp, and it was like I went through that whole season trying to play for my dad, and I ended up pulling my hamstring, and then I tried to rush back, because I'm like, I'm dedicating this season to my dad. And I tried to rush back, and then I ended up spraining my foot or something like that when I knew I should not even been out there in the first place because my hamstring wasn't right. So I ended up spraining my foot, and it was just like, man, I'm trying to do this for my dad, and it's not going right. So, I questioned if I really wanted to play football that year. And, it was tough, dude, because life was steady going and going and going. And I never really had time to like really grieve my father, So when I got released from Kansas City, and you know, I wasn't getting picked back up and things wasn't going the way that I thought it was going to go, man, like it felt like all those feelings that I never got out just started to come out of me. You know what I mean? So it was like I had so much free time for the first time in my whole life that it was just like, man, dude, like my dad's really going, you know? And it was like we did Christmas at my house this past year because this was the first time that I ever spent Christmas with the family. And I've never, like, for Thanksgiving, I'm always playing. We always had a game or anything like that. So I've never had a Thanksgiving or a Christmas with my family since I went to college. You know what I'm saying? So this was the first Christmas that I was able to, like, be with my family, you know, with everyone. You know, my dad's sisters, his brothers, and my mom, them, and my brothers and everything like that. And it was like, okay, I'm finna have this big Christmas party at the house. We bringing all the family together. This is going to be great. And it was like when I did that, man, I just
Nah, take your time, brother. Take your time.
when I brought the family together, I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
And it only made me realize that, man, my dad is really gone.
Yeah.
And yeah, bro, I say around Christmas time, I noticed that things will never be the same again, man.
Yeah.
So that's been tough.
Well, grief is such an interesting thing. I obviously it's totally different than losing your dad, but my grandfather passed away this last year. It was my first taste of like adult grief.
No doubt.
When you're a kid, you have family members that you lose, and it's like
Right.
it's different. It's different.
Right.
Your brain isn't even developed to be able to like fully comprehend it. But like when
Right.
you've had the span of a lifetime, and to me, it's like it's when you've gone through hell with other people.
No doubt.
When you've gone through like the ups and downs of life with other people, or
Right.
you've experienced them on such a human level, and then you lose them. It was my first taste of like human grief.
No doubt.
And it was like one of those things that like, I know how to describe happiness. I know how to describe joy. I know how to describe contentment, but I don't know how to put grief into words.
No doubt.
Because grief, joy shows up in a smile.
No doubt.
Happiness can show up in laughter.
Right.
Grief can show up in like the ugliest ways.
No
and
doubt.
like I find myself getting mad or angry
No doubt.
or blowing up at people and
No
like,
doubt.
why am I doing that? Why am I
Right.
acting like this?
Right.
And I'd stop and think, and I'd somehow connect it back to, it has to do, somehow it's connected to this area of loss in
No
my life,
question.
which is causing me to act out in
Right.
such a not me type way.
Right.
Did you experience that at all? Did you experience?
Definitely, man. And it was crazy because I lost my dad, man, 2 weeks after my wedding. So
Gosh.
2 weeks after my wedding. So it's like I'm dealing with all this these emotions with
Yeah.
my wife,
Yeah.
So it's like, man, we supposed to be in this honeymoon
Right.
stage,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm shut down,
Yeah.
bro. It's
Yeah.
like I shut down to my wife,
Yep.
and I shut down, just to my family because, I didn't really want to remind them of his absence. So, I didn't really experience a honeymoon stage in my
Yeah,
wedding.
yeah.
I mean, in my relationship with my wife.
Because you're dealing
but
with all that.
I was dealing with all of that, but
and you probably don't even know how to explain really to her.
Exactly. I mean, me and my wife, we went through a lot of counseling, dude. Early on we did our premarital counseling, which, helped us tremendously. But, after I lost my dad, I had to get some counseling myself, and then, after that, it was like, okay, I had to get some counseling with me and my wife as well. And it wasn't never to a point where, me and my wife ever thought about, just calling it off or anything like that. It just came to a point where it was like, man, I'm not communicating anymore,
Dude,
so
yeah. The counseling thing is there's such a stigma to it that we really got to fight to
No
remove
question.
in American
No
society
question.
because there's something just powerful about Being able to have conversation with somebody that can help you sort through what you're feeling.
Exactly.
That's the thing about even grief, especially.
No question.
You can't put into words the emotions you're feeling in
No question.
You almost feel crazy.
Exactly.
You almost feel like a crazy person.
Exactly, bro. And like you said, man, we didn't lost, family members along this journey of life, but we never lost anyone in our core.
Yeah,
So
someone close.
Exactly. So that was tough, man. But battling with that, like I say, around Christmas, that was the first time now that I just realized, like, man, my dad is gone. Holidays will never be the same, no matter how much, we try to bring the family together and do things like that. Holidays will never be the same. And, like I say, I was dealing with that, and then not being picked up, and
pile up effect.
No doubt, man. And then seeing how well Kansas City was doing.
Tell me about that. Did you have any regret when you're thinking when they're like, I mean, they killed it this year?
I did. It was one night I laid in bed. I was like, hey, baby, did I mess up? And
you were so glad they didn't take it all, weren't you?
Right.
The only year you ever cheered for the Patriots.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I cheered for the Patriots so hard when they played in a playoff
for
game.
all the wrong reasons too.
Right, dude. I'm telling you, man. When the Patriots beat them, man, God
You're
knows.
like, whoo!
God knows.
That was a close one, boy.
My life became a whole lot better again. But yeah, dude, it was just like, man, I was going through a lot, man. But through it all, man, I just kept trusting God and believing that He had me right where He wanted me to be, And when I got to that dark moment where it was just like, I can't take this anymore, I mean, I really just like, God, I need you.
Yeah.
It was a God, I need you, like every night until, He just relieved me and letting me know that, hey, man, you right where I want you to be at.
How did you deal with your questions? You talked about even the questioning God, questioning heaven, questioning all these kinds of things. At some point, you had to reconcile that.
Right.
What was that like for you? How did you?
It was funny because when I was going through that and I didn't have an answer, I opened my word because it was like my mom, she was going through it, and it was like I had no words to say to her, and my family was going through it, and it was like, man, I had no words that I could come up to like say to my family that everything was going to be all right. So I just started searching stuff, dude, on Google. I'm like, what is heaven? Where do people go when they die? Like I just started searching everything up in the Bible, and I type in stuff on Google like, what does the Bible say about heaven? What does the Bible say about this? And I'm coming up with all these different type of scriptures and stuff, and I'm reading it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna send this to my mom. I'm gonna send this to my brothers, So I'm getting all these scriptures, and I mean, it just strengthened my faith, dude. Like, cause I was at a point where it was like, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where he's at. I don't know if this stuff is real. Yeah. And it was like, my mom, she was going through the same things, and it was like, I got to get an answer, man. Yeah. And I just opened the word up, bro. And a lot of my questions that I had was in the word, dude.
Yeah.
And
it made it make sense for you.
No doubt. And not only that, I was able to share, the word with my mom and with my brothers and with my family, dude. And I can honestly say that, God used me in those moments to like give my family hope, give my family strength. And I was just glad that He did it with me because he strengthened my faith, and it just letting me know that everything was going to be all right.
Do you feel like your faith is stronger?
No question. I definitely do, man. And it's stronger because of what I've been through and how I done came out. And now that I can look back on things and, see where I was at and see where I'm at now, it's like I know that God is real. Yeah. I know that He's on my life. I know that He has purpose for me. And it was funny because I was talking to my mom last night, and I was just telling her, like, we got to be appreciative of where God has brought us from, and start sharing the good news of what God is doing for us. I was telling my mom, like, sometimes when I'm around her, and people come up to her, they like, how you doing? You're like, I'm good, I'm making it, but she kind of always like have that spirit of like, she's still battling with my dad and everything like that. And I'm like, okay, Mom, you know, you're battling with that, but look how far God then brought
Right,
you.
yeah.
I'm like, when people ask you how you're doing, you know, let them know that God has been good to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, start sharing that a lot
Yeah.
more because he done brought you a mighty long way. And I was like, you know, I was just telling her like that struggle that we kind of went through, you know, it was for us, but you know, we can shed light on other people.
Yeah.
Like since my dad has passed,
Yeah.
dude, I done had so many teammates and so many friends that then lost their dad,
Yeah.
that then turned to me and was
Yeah.
like, man, how did you get through
Yeah.
it? You know, and it's like I've been counseling, you know, people that I didn't went to college with. I mean, one of my best friends, we was roommates my freshman year in college at Arizona, and his dad just passed a few weeks ago. He had this funeral this past weekend, and he reached out to me on Instagram,
Wow.
dude. Like we haven't talked in a minute. And he reached out to me on Instagram and was just like, dude, I lost my dad, man, this, that, and the third. And, you know, I was just able to share some scriptures that I stumbled across with him. And I was just able to share with him, like, hey, man, you know, it don't get easy, but you get through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to always be there, but, you know, God is going to bring you through it. And I was able to give him some encouraging words that, you know, I feel like helped him through his grieving process. So I just was telling my mom, like, you know, sometimes the struggles that we face aren't for us, but we got to go through it just to share it with other people that going to come across these problems, because one thing about life is going to keep going, man. And that's what I was just letting her know. Yeah, man. And she got a good word out of that yesterday too. So it's everything has been like with a divine purpose, I believe, that's been going on throughout my life. Just helping me cope with a lot of things and helping me see the brighter side of life. And I just been thankful for where he's brought me from, man, and where he's taken me to.
Yeah, it's like you were saying earlier on, like you got to be convinced that all things will work together
No
for your
doubt.
good.
No doubt.
You know, that somehow, some way, and that's to me the incredible thing about God.
No doubt.
Is sometimes as a human you don't see it.
You don't.
Like I'm
don't.
trying down here to see, could you please show me? Because I
Exactly.
don't see how there's
Exactly.
any possible way
Right.
that we're gonna find light at the end of this tunnel.
Right.
And he has this way.
And it's tough, brother, especially when we going through it. But I shared in a message today. I said we can't focus on what we're going through, but we got to focus on where we're going to. And I believe God has a destination for us that's bigger and better than our understanding, but we just have to trust the process.
Yeah. Where have you found that your dad fits into your life now? You talked about when he first passed,
Right.
you were going to go out and you're like, everything that I do, I'm going to do, you know, the
Right.
season's going to be for him. Do you feel like that was healthy? Where does he fit into your life now? Because, I mean, he's not here on earth.
Right.
But there's no doubt.
No doubt.
He's a part of you and with you.
No
You know what I mean?
doubt.
You have
No
that
doubt.
sense. There's
No
that
doubt.
sense that everything that he invested in you
No
is
doubt.
more alive than ever.
No doubt, man. Just the dad that he was to me. You know, I'm trying to be that dad to my son now, you know, and it's funny because like everybody in my family knows that my son looks identical to my
Really?
dad, man. When my son came out the womb, bro, I
Wow.
like held him in tears, bro, because I'm like, man, this is my dad
Pops, is that
right
you?
here. Right? And it's funny
Oh.
because like, dude, it's funny. My boy is advanced. Like,
Really?
he's advanced, man. And it's been times, man, where I put my boy to bed. Like, every time we go to bed, you know, we do the Lord's Prayer. And
Yeah.
he's 2 years old and he knows the Lord's Prayer, you know. And
Yeah.
every time I hold him at night, bro, and it was like when he was a baby, dude, like, he'll look at me or he'll do something where I'm like, you're too young to be doing that right there.
Yeah.
I said, I know that's you, Dad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my dad fits into my life, man, just off, you know, helping me be the father figure that he was to me, to my boy, you know. And like I said, I see my dad and him every day, and that kind of gives me like that piece of joy, you know, to know that my boy is right here and I'm installing the same things that my dad installed with me into him. And that's kind of just been my joy, man, is trying to be that father figure that my dad
It
has
probably
been.
comes more alive for you too than even if I find like even with my grandfather, I see him in me more now than I did when he
No
was
doubt.
alive. Like I
No
almost
doubt.
overlooked it.
No
The
doubt.
lessons.
I
and
mean, exactly. Even like, bro, it's funny now that I look in the mirror or when I look at pictures, I'm like, dang, I look like my dad.
You see
But I've
it.
never seen it before,
Yeah,
you
you
know.
don't,
And
you
it's
don't.
like, I even look at my brothers now and I be like, well, you look just like Pops, man. And
Yeah.
it's like, you don't see it
Uh-uh.
until that happened, you
Yeah.
know. But, you know, now I'm starting to see, you know, a lot of his similarities and his traits that he had in him, you know, come alive in me. So it's just like, man, it was God's plan.
It's funny too because I think it has to do if you'll look for it. But loss, I mean, we see loss as it takes something from us.
No doubt.
If you'll fight to see it, it also seems to give something to you.
No
It's
doubt.
almost like I think of it right now. I'm thinking
That's
of
good.
like a person. You know, they say like a person that goes blind, like their hearing
Right.
intensifies. Like whatever sense they lose,
Right.
it causes their other ones to become more
Wow,
alive. You
that's
know,
good,
I mean, you
yeah.
think about guys like Stevie Wonder who can't
Right.
see. But he doesn't seem like he's missing out on
Right,
anything.
exactly,
And almost
exactly.
he can hear things that we can't hear
Right.
because of what he's lost.
No doubt.
I
no
think that's
doubt.
true even when we lose people that we love.
No question.
There's something that we've lost, but there's also an advantage that we've gained.
Exactly, bro.
And
Exactly.
I think that that's what you see even in your life, an ability to help people that you couldn't have helped, an
No
ability
question.
to probably parent even in a way that,
Right.
I mean, even at your age, to be able
Right.
to be thinking of those kinds of things. I think about
Right.
my oldest son and some of the things, like when he was first born, I feel like, I mean, he's only 8 years old now, but so many things that I just overlooked just because of the pace of life, and you're just
Mm-hmm. Right.
you're trying to figure out your own self. You
No
don't
doubt.
feel old enough to have kids. You
No
know what I
doubt.
mean?
No
Like,
doubt.
what business
Right.
do I have being a
Right.
parent? But
Right.
to think, to have things in your life that cause you to be more intentional, or
No
more
doubt.
observant, or more aware, I think is a powerful thing.
No doubt, brother. No doubt, man. Just like you were saying, dude, like, since I lost my pops, man, like a lot of things have started to come alive, you know, within me, within my family. You know, it feels like it happened for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, me and my brothers, we were close. Like, me and my second to oldest brother, we were close, but my oldest brother, you know, he was kind of always in and out of our lives and stuff. But since my pops passed, man, I say we're like the brothers that
Yeah.
you see on TV, man.
Yeah.
The perfect brothers, you know, that talk to each other all the time,
And it wasn't like that
it
before.
wasn't like that before, man. And it's like our family has become so close since my pops passed. But before it wasn't like that, man. But I feel like that happened for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because throughout this journey, you know, of being in the NFL and everything, you get a lot of people that want to just ride your coattail, man,
Yeah, I
and
bet.
just want to be around you, but they're not genuine,
Yeah.
you know. And just throughout this whole journey, man, I realized that my brothers are really like my best friends,
Yeah.
man. They're like the closest people that I have around
Yeah.
me. So it just made me grow a more appreciative vibe for them, man. And we've been connected, man, on all the dots. You know, now I call them, you know, and we talk about struggles that we going through in our
Yeah.
lives. You know, they share stuff with me, and I'm able to help them out in certain situations. They able to help me out
Yeah.
in certain situations, and I mean, we like really lean and depend on each other, and
Yeah.
it helped us out a lot, bro.
It makes me think of the scripture that talks about how God gives beauty for ashes.
Mm.
And it's really what he does.
Yes, he does.
Because you think about God, the nature of God, that he's good. So I struggle with the idea that he causes ashes, but there's no doubt that he has an ability to take things that life brings to your door,
No doubt.
and he can just make something incredible
No
out of
doubt.
something
No
that is
doubt.
so very,
No doubt.
very horrible. You know what I
That's true,
mean?
bro.
It's like, it's always that feeling of the devil better. He was so stupid. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Like we wouldn't have
bro.
been close if we wouldn't have had these moments.
Exactly.
And there's
We wouldn't
something
be
about
able to help other people, man, that's
No.
going through certain situations, man, and give them hope and give them light, you know, had that not happened, you know. So like I say, I definitely miss my pops, man. I wish he was still here, but
Yeah.
I mean, since his passing, bro, my faith then grew stronger.
Makes you aware of a bigger picture.
No question. And it's like, had I went through this situation that I went through this past season, you know, just of not knowing what's going on and not having my faith strengthened back then,
Yeah.
you know, there's no telling where I'll be. So
Yeah.
I just look at the beauty of everything that did happen, man, and
Yeah.
all the wisdom that I've been able to gain, you know, over the course of, you know, these past few years,
Yeah.
man, and just know that I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
It's probably comforting too, because it's like, I'd imagine if he can bring you through that,
No
he
doubt.
could take you through anything.
No
you know what I
doubt,
mean?
brother.
Like at
No
those
doubt.
moments where you're just like questioning
Exactly.
everything. You're like, if I can
Exactly.
make it through that,
Exactly.
I'm gonna make it through. I'm
No
gonna make
doubt.
it through anything.
No doubt, brother. I believe it.
That's
I
your story. I
believe
mean,
it.
that's what you talk about trust. I've always, anytime I get the opportunity to say it because it was a big moment for me. My dad, talking to me about trust. And I remember him telling me his definition of trust, and it's just stuck with me. He says, trusting God is not knowing all of the answers and being okay with it. And I'm like,
good.
that is such a crystal clear way of what trust sometimes looks like and feels
Right.
like. It means like, I don't know. Well,
Right.
you don't know? No, I literally don't know.
Right.
And you're cool? I'm cool.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know. I
exactly.
don't know how it's going to happen,
Exactly.
but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I kind of feel that kind of goes along the same lines as faith, man. Just believing the unseen and knowing that it's gonna be all right. Whatever it is that God has planned for you or for me is going to be according to His purpose, and His understanding is way better than ours. So that's what I rest assured in that.
You taught me something. One of our conversations one time, I preached it to so many different people. You probably don't even know, but to me, it's such a reflection of your life. And I remember one time I was grilling you, trying to figure out. I think you were playing for Pittsburgh at the time, and I was asking you because like your faith was a big part of what you were doing. I'm like, how do you? What does it look like for you? Like, when do you pray? What do you do? And you're like, dude, I don't know. I just keep God at the center of my life.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, yeah, but what does that look like? And you're like, I keep God at the center of
Right,
my
right.
life.
I remember
and
that.
I couldn't wrap my brain around it. And then
Right.
I kept asking. And you're just like, everything that I'm doing, I'm like God conscious. I
Right.
keep Him in. It's not a religious practice, something that I
Exactly.
do. It's somebody that I do life with. Dude,
Exactly.
that like changed my even.
Right.
I grew up in church,
No
and it
doubt.
changed my approach to just God and faith.
Right.
To keep God right in the middle.
Right.
If you're going through hell, then you're going through hell with
Right.
He's with you.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
And that's one thing that I always try to like live by, bro. It's like sometimes we try to like prioritize God. It's like, okay, and the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna give God some time, and then I'm going off about my day. But like I say, man, I just try to keep God at the center of everything that I do.
Dude, I've taken that and I preach it. I tell people, I say, God doesn't want to be at the top of your list.
Right.
He wants to be at the center of your life.
Doubt.
I got that from Rob Golden. Rob Golden. You're the real preacher around here.
No doubt,
So good.
bro.
You talked about being in as an NFL player, people wanting to ride your coattails.
No doubt.
How do you distinguish the genuine from the ones who are not? Because you've been around.
I've been around
this for
no
a while.
doubt, no doubt. I tell you what, man. Early on in my career, man, before I was married, it wasn't even really trying to distinguish, man. It was just all about having a good time.
Really?
And,
So
having
everybody's
people around.
welcome?
Yeah, everybody was welcome, man. And then once I got married and started living a family life and everything like that, a lot of people started to show their true colors. A lot of people just started to show up who was real and who was just trying to be on the ride for the ride. And that's been kind of like what slowed me down. And I won't say slowed me down, but just made me more conscious of my surroundings. Was just finding a wife. I believe that since I found my wife, man, I've been blessed. I've been a lot more blessed. I know the word says that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So I definitely could say I didn't have favor on my life, man, just being able to, diversify who's really for me and who's really against me, man. And one thing that I've noticed, man, it's like the people that really care about you and the people that really support you, you feel it, you know that they really care for you, that they really support you. And the ones that you don't feel the love and the support from, you feel that as well too. Yeah. And that's
you
just
feel fake. Do you feel fake love? Like,
no
do you ever
question.
people that are kind of like, you're saying that just because you're...
No question. I mean, I run across those type of guys, every day, all day. But,
But you're such a nice guy. How do you just treat them all the same? I mean,
I treat them all the same. I smile, but in the back of my head, I'm like,
nope.
Okay, this ain't gonna work. Or nope, you not getting that. Or nope, I know what you try to do. So, but I smile at everybody, man. I smile, I shake their head. And
where did you learn that? Because I've watched you work a crowd. You're not in a fake way, but you're good at it.
Right. I tell you, man, I'm just thankful for life, bro. Everybody that knows me or that, that then ran across me, they always say, man, you always smiling. We love your smile. You always happy. And it's just like, when I think about it, bro, I'm just thankful for life. That's one thing about, being with the Steelers for so many years. I was there for 6.5 years, man. And, coming across all the people that work inside the building, the custodians, the cooks, the chefs, and all those people, man, I kind of like built relationships with them just because they loved my spirit, and I was able to shine a lot of light on their lives. So I just be thankful for life, bro. Like, a lot of people got it way worse than what we got it the way that I have it, and I just try to appreciate that everything that God has done for me. Just one, man, being able to grow up with a mom and a dad. That's uncommon a lot. In a Black community families. Especially where I'm from. On my side of town, man. So just growing up with a mom and dad, that really was a module for me. That's just enough to be thankful in itself. So
a lot of people don't really know that about you, though. Like, I mean, it's not like you had a clear trajectory to the NFL. I mean, you had to work and hustle.
No doubt, man. No doubt. From the bottom up, it was like in Pop Warner, it was always those couple of guys that were superstars, and it was me. And then, we went to high school, it was superstars, and then it was me. And went off to college, it was superstars, and then it was me. And then didn't get drafted, man, and got invited to.
So you weren't drafted.
I was not drafted, and got invited to go out to Pittsburgh and do their camp. And most guys that come in my situation are practice squad guys, or they bounce around from teams to teams. And I was able to go there, man, and God shined His light upon my life, man. I was always happy, always energetic, and the coaches fell in love with me, and was able to serve as the team captain for 4 years out of my 6 years there. And it was a beautiful thing how God just shined His light, His light upon my life, and let other people see that.
Yeah. Now you're really big on giving back. You do a lot. You come back to Fresno and do things in the community. You go back to your high school.
No doubt.
And that were you always thinking about that in the back of your mind, or has that been as you've gotten older?
Oh, well, it's kind of something that, I adapted from, a good friend of mine, Ricky Manning, man. When I was in high school, right? When I was in high school, everybody wanted to be Ricky Manning. Like, this guy, he gets drafted out of high school to play baseball. Then he goes off to UCLA and balls out. Then he goes to the NFL and do all the things that he did. And along the way, every time, every off season, he always send us a big box. And the coach would get the big box, and he'd drop it off in the middle of the field. And there's 1,000 of us just running over there trying to get stuff out the box, that Ricky sent us. So I was like, man, that was cool what Ricky used to do, man. So every year. That's when
you were in high school?
That's when I was in high school.
Wow.
So when I went off to college and went off to the pros, I was like, man, when I get an opportunity to give back, I definitely want to give back as well. So every year I sent, the whole Edison football team, cleats, and I bought them shoulder pads one year and send them gloves. I just sent them everything that Ricky used to send us. And because I know what that did for me as a kid and how happy I was, whenever that box came. So I always made sure that I tried to send a box, to my high school. But not only that, man, just, being involved in my community was something that I always wanted to do, just to let them know that, I'm appreciative, and God has done a lot of great things in my life. And, if they stay the course and continue to trust Him, that, He can definitely shine light upon their life as well, and in there are certain situations, everybody's not going to be able to make the NFL, but, God can still use you and give you a platform to be able to bless other people. So that's just what I try to do, man. Just try to inspire other people and let them know that, man, God is real, and He can use you, and He can use me. The same guy that's from the same streets you guys are from, I lived these streets, I walked in these streets, and, God found the way to use me. He can find a way to use you as well.
What a powerful way to use your platform, though.
No
and
doubt,
I think that even people that have influence, I think it's so important for everyone just to remember that. You don't realize just how much kindness and giving back and generosity and living beyond yourself really has more effect than your skill or your talent.
Doubt.
I mean, you think about with Ricky, you know what I mean? Like you may not remember every single miracle play he made, but you remember that box that showed up to your school. That's what left the mark. He had the platform but it was how he used the platform. Ricky's
Exactly.
always been like that.
No doubt.
The one who's introducing. It's how I met you.
No
through
doubt.
Ricky, you
No
know,
doubt.
It's like
No doubt.
But to see how through kindness and generosity,
Right.
how that affects a
No
kid
doubt.
in high school,
No
and
doubt.
how you using your platform.
Exactly.
It blows my mind sometimes to think about how God works.
Right.
You know what I
No
mean?
question.
You think it's about football, but really
Right.
it's about the high schooler.
Exactly.
It's really about the high schooler at
Exactly.
Edison High that's going to be impacted by
No
your
doubt.
kindness.
No doubt, brother.
And it really wasn't about the football
doubt.
all along. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's just
Exactly.
such a trip to me.
No doubt.
But you're doing
No
more and
doubt.
more of that. In fact, this will air before your event this Saturday. So
Uh-huh.
maybe even talk about what you're doing this. Is it Saturday?
Yep, it's this upcoming Saturday. I'm doing my second annual diabetes awareness walk. Just in the honor of my dad. You know, his heart attack came from diabetes.
And they found out about that after the fact?
Exactly. Yes.
I didn't even know that. I didn't
right.
know you could have a heart attack from.
Right. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the connection.
Right. So it's just trying to bring awareness to it, man, because we got a lot of people, within this world that's walking around with diabetes and don't even know it, and so that's what we just trying to do. It's like I have blood testing, being done up there on Saturday at Edison. Registration is going to be from like 8 to 9. I believe the walk is going to start at 10 o'clock. But we're going to have like blood testing going on and just trying to bring awareness to it, man, because a lot of people, especially in our West Fresno community, don't know that they have it, man.
Yeah.
And I forget the statistic exactly, but I believe it was like 33% in the valley, just in the San
Really?
Joaquin Valley, of people are walking around with diabetes and don't even know it.
Whoa.
So just want to try to bring awareness to it and just bring some light to people like, hey man, if you jump on it pretty soon and start living a more healthier lifestyle, you may not cure it, but you can definitely control it and start living a more healthier lifestyle. So that's been my whole goal, is just to bring awareness to it, to help people live a more healthier lifestyle and be more active.
It's awesome. So
No
for
doubt.
more may just show up on Saturday, or is there a place they can go? Is there where they can get more information?
Yes, they can go on goldenpursuit.org and they can register online, or they can just walk up. And if you walk up, man, we're not turning anyone away, man. We want to bring as much awareness as we can to it.
Yeah.
We're going to have some nutritionists out there that's going to be able to pass out information.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're going to do blood testing and sugar testing and yeah, man.
It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. I was there last year. I remember it was a good time.
No doubt. Whatever we can do, man, to bring awareness to it, to help people live a more healthier lifestyle, man. That's what we're all about.
Good, man. I
doubt.
appreciate you so much.
Oh,
I
thanks,
still
brother.
believe your best days are ahead. You're right in the
No
middle
doubt.
of them.
No
One
doubt.
last question. Who's going to be the team to beat this year?
Man, those Chiefs are going to be good
They're
for
gonna
a long
haunt you,
time. They're going to be good for a long time. It's crazy. I just see so many Kansas City Chiefs emblems on people's car when I drive, and I just like, dang, there it go again. But it's funny though, man. The Chiefs are going to be a good team in the AFC North, and then the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah?
man, they're on their way up. They got a quarterback. They got OBJ and
That's right.
a couple of other good ballers, man. So those my two top teams in the AFC. And then the New Orleans Saints and the Rams, man. I think they're
killing
going
it.
to be the teams in the NFC, man. So
All
we'll
right.
see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Brother, I love you. Thanks for
Love you
stopping
too,
by
brother.
today.
Thank you, man.